All right, what's up? What's up, you bold beauty boss? Your boy Wick here. Wicked. Shut up. All right, I am so excited today. Let me tell you, I've been trying to track this woman down for literally, Zoey, is this true? Right? For literally months, I've been, Zoey, when do you have time? Zoey, when can you make time? Zoey, the people need to know what you got going on in your cranium area, the cranial, this vicinity, right? And the hands, that whole connection. So everybody, I want to introduce you to Zoey Jolley. And Zoey has been in aesthetics for about 6 years. She mentioned since 2016, Essential Aesthetics by Zoey. And here's the deal, right? Whenever I interview somebody, it is because I have seen what they've been doing, or they've said some things that I'm like, everyone needs to know this. Everyone that is either new in aesthetics or struggling with aesthetics or want to reach the next level in their aesthetics business, Zoey has some information that I feel, my humble opinion, that can benefit everybody in this business, regardless of where you are. Zoey, thank you. Thank you so much for making yourself available and to share your wisdoms.
You are welcome. I'm happy to be here with everybody.
Yes. Cool. Let's get into it, because Zoey is a busy gal. Zoey, first of all, tell us briefly about yourself. How did you get into aesthetics? How you started your business? Just walk us through that real quick.
Yeah, so I actually started in the spa industry in 2009. And I always say that aesthetics found me. I went and worked as a receptionist in a spa, and the energy there was so cool. I know you guys get this. It was just a different vibe. I had never really been experienced in that. And so I wanted for years to be able to go and learn and get my license. And I was also a mom. I know many of you guys get that too. So I had to wait until the littles were in school. And so I kind of went backwards. So I was a receptionist, an assistant manager. I managed a medical spa for 4.5 years with 15 employees and took care of kind of all of the back end stuff. And then I went to school, went to a different medical spa, and then decided on a whim to go out on my own in 2016. So that's a little bit about me. Mom of 3 kids. They are getting old and it's fun. And I absolutely still love everything about spa.
Awesome. And so you've got to see a lot of the stuff that happens in the back door, the backside of a business, right? I think a lot of times when we look at a business, we always see the cool part. Yay, I get to work with people. Yay, I get to help people. I get to do cool Instagram things and take these snaps and how cool I am. But when you get to see the back office of everything that's involved in the back, a lot of times it can be quite a bit.
Yeah, it's I'm sure overwhelming for people, starting out and like, oh wait, I have to order this product and I have to track this and pay taxes, and I don't know which way I'm coming, because you're wearing so many hats as a solo esthetician for sure.
Yeah, you know what? You said it right there. A lot of the times y'all feel overwhelmed. And Zoey and I just discussed this. Our goal is to help you feel whelmed, right? Not overwhelmed. Everyone is overwhelmed. Can we just be whelmed? Can we just be happy? Just like Zoey's last name, can we all just be jolly and make some money? So Zoey, a couple of things I've learned from you are some of your tricks, some of your hacks that you use. Because one thing about Zoey that I just, literally, I went on Zoey's business. I Googled the business page, right? And I went there. And Zoey, you have a couple of reviews, right? You got like 100+ reviews, right?
Right.
And I was like, that's different, right? Different in an amazing way. And then I see Zoey's always busy. I'm like, that's fantastic. And Zoey shared with me some of the things that she's done to the system she has in place. So Zoey, when it comes to your business, when you first started yours, was it always easy? What were some of the initial hardships that you ran into that you thought maybe were going to be easier until you hit them?
Yeah, so one of the things I always like to share is that I thought I needed all the tools and all the things and to have everything and offer every single service. And I actually think that that is a detriment when you are trying to, especially in marketing, right? You're just like, I do that and that and that and that. And then people really don't know what you do and what you offer. And I spent a lot of unnecessary money on tools and pieces of equipment that I didn't end up using. So that for sure is something that I always recommend. What interests you? What things do you want to focus on? Of course, it's fun to have all of the tools, but you don't actually need those. So that for sure is one of those things.
So, and real quickly, so what were some of those things that you got into initially, and then you invested in those tools, and then you kind of like pulled back a little bit and go, well, I really didn't need to do all that.
Okay, so I'll tell you my number one because it's a great story. I thought I needed a microdermabrasion machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in a space. I rented a room in a salon. Actually, I'm still there. It's working out great. And I really wanted to have this because I feel like a microderm feels good. It's nice. It works really, really well. But what I didn't know is that the clients there and the clients that we were attracting into the space, actually, they weren't looking for that. And so I spent quite a bit of money. I spent $2,500 on a used machine to get like a good Cadillac, you know? And then I had a big piece of equipment that just sat there. I think in a year, I did 8.
Wow. Right. And I think that is so critical, y'all, what Zoey just said. So many times, and Lord knows I've been guilty of it, and it's cost me so much, not only time, not only money, but then the headaches, the maintenance, and all these things, because sometimes we want to be that one-stop shop. We want to be like, I do this, and I do this, and I do this. But like what you alluded to, Zoey, it's hard to market all of that because when you're putting it all out there, sometimes you have different clientele for this and for this and for this, and it's hard enough to market as is. So when you're starting to spread all these different messages and you're spinning all these plates, it can be so much to keep up with, right? So you started with some of those. So that was one of your stories, and then you kind of started pulling back a little bit. How did that go then?
Yeah, well, if I can share another story.
Oh, please,
okay.
Please.
In 2018, I actually started having neck issues because I was doing a lot of eyelash extensions and I didn't love them. It wasn't my passion. I was actually super good at them, but didn't love them, and went on vacation. And I know that we share this passion of reading, decided to read Gary Keller's The One Thing while I was on vacation. And I was like, I don't need this. I'm going to cut out eyelash extensions. It was my number one service. And I'm like, I think I'm done. I was going to be done at the end of the year. This is July. So I was going to give him 6 months. And then on the way home, talking to a friend who owns a lash studio in my same town. We're very friendly and share clients a lot of the times. And she was needing to get her employees busy. And I was like, then why am I doing this? So I decided I was going to cut it out at the end of August. So I gave my clients 1 month. I was down just a smidge in September and October, which is generally a slow time anyways. And guess what happened in November?
Oh, do share. What?
Sales went up so much, you guys. It was crazy. I cannot even believe what it did. So yeah, when you put your passion and focus, and also tracking is super important. I think a lot of us, we want to market and we want to do all these things, and then we don't even take time to go back and check and know. But I had my numbers, so I knew what I needed to do. And it was a little scary, but it was the best thing ever to get rid of that. I'm happier, love going into work every day. I don't have to dread leaning over. And for those of you that do eyelash extensions and love it, make sure your body mechanics are great. Make sure you get a really good table so you can raise that up and down as needed as well, so that you save your body.
Absolutely. You know what is so important to love what you do, because after a while, it's going to wear on you. Like sometimes when, like even myself, I'm always juggling a few things, and then I'm asking myself, I don't even want to do this. And sometimes when we feel we're slave to something that we created, right? It also, it just doesn't feel good, right? It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And if you're not loving it, if you're not absolutely, like there's some things that I feel like for example, I don't love going to the gym, but I know it's kind of good for me and it's good. So until I get that piece together, or I pick up a sport and do that more, you know, but you need to find what loves, because you'll appreciate doing more. But another thing that you said, you can actually, listen to this. You can actually make more by doing less, by pulling in some of the services that maybe you don't love, maybe that are not as profitable, things that you maybe, and we'll get into this a little bit more a little later, Zoe, the numbers. But what your numbers will reveal is, what are your most popular services? What's really kicking in your business? And then if you cut down some of the other stuff, could you do more in that? Right. So one of the things you talked about was tracking, right, Zoe? And I was really, really impressed. So y'all here, listen to this. I was talking to Zoe. We're just typing things and messaging and stuff like that. And I was telling Zoe, you know, hey, how did that go? How many people did you get last month? She goes, wait, hold on one second. She goes, I got 10 from Google. I got 8 from Facebook. I got 7 from this. I'm like, how do you know all of these numbers specifically and where you got them from, right? Because it's a rare, I'm telling y'all, it's a rarity in this business. Zoe, share with us your wisdoms in how do you make this magic happen?
Okay, so first you have to ask, right? If you don't ask, you're never gonna know. So new client comes in, Wick, how'd you hear about me? They're gonna tell you. And also if they say friend, I get that all the time. Like, I heard about you from a friend. I'm like, what friend? I want to thank them for sending you, you know, and make them feel special using their names, all of those things. So for sure, I ask on the client intake form. I go over that form when they come in. But if you don't have a form, if you're starting out from scratch, you just need to ask. And then I actually do go and track it. I track it on a monthly sheet that I actually handwrite, because they say there's something about writing stuff down that makes a big difference, right? So I'll write their name, I write the date that they came in, I write the referral, and then I also mark if they're my best client ever. So if they're a very ideal client, they bought retail, they came on time, they filled out my form, they didn't ask too many questions. It's good to ask questions, but not too many.
Yeah.
I'm going to mark that so that I know, you know what, if my schedule's tight, but this client wants to get in, maybe I'm going to work a little harder for them. And I want to know that and remember them. A lot of times when you're bringing in a lot of new clients at once, or you're starting out, and so everybody's new, it's hard to remember those clients. So always make yourself a note.
So you basically have like a notebook that you write it in, and you go, okay, you know, Kathy Silva came in on this date. She found me through Google, and she's an ideal client, and she bought retail. Like, is that pretty much what it is?
Yeah. Yep. And I could share a blank form with you, but yeah, I do just track all of that information exactly. And then at the end of the month, because I know the referral types, I'll go in on each of my biggest referral types, which is Google, friends, from me, from the salon I work at, Facebook, Instagram. So I'm going to note where they found me from so that I'm able to easily track that. And then I have a year sheet as well. So I transfer each month. And then at the end of the year, I can tell you for 2021, 69% of my clients found me through Google.
Wow. So, you know, this sounds like work, Zoe. You know, I know a lot of people are going to see that right off the bat. Zoe, this sounds like a lot of work. You know, how long does it take you to do this tracking?
Oh, it doesn't take very long, because I'm going to do it on like a daily basis. When a new client comes in, I'll just write it down, or a weekly basis. Or if you want to do it for a month, it's going to take you a couple minutes. But really make sure, if you're not asking, then you're going to have to go track that down. Or if you don't have a form, you're going to make the work a little harder for you. But these are kind of the things I think Wick would agree with me that I kind of geek out over, because I love like knowing how can I turn this up. You know, I knew that Google was so good last year. So guess what I focused on for this year? I'm focusing on trying to build up my friend referrals, because I know if Google goes away, if Facebook goes away, if Instagram goes away, You know, we need different forms of ways that new clients are going to find us.
Absolutely. You know what? There's an old saying, you cannot improve something that you're not measuring, right? If you do not know the numbers and you know, just exactly what Zoe says, if you do an intake form, right? And that's probably on there somewhere, you know, Google or Facebook. Hopefully on y'all intake forms, you have that information, right? It should just be a conversation. It should just be a part of that form. And then, but don't let that form just sit there and not know anything. Because if you knew, like Zoe says at the end of there, oh my God, Google is the biggest, or hey, so many people were coming in from one person that referred 20 people. You know, if you're not tracking this, it's hard to know where you should put more of your eggs and more of your time, because that's something that is naturally working for you for whatever reason, right?
Right.
Okay. So other than that, what are some other things that you've learned in your business that you do that seems to either pull in and find clients or help you sell retail? What are some of the other things that you've found work well for you?
Okay, so for retail, always thinking, you have time with that client, right? And when you have a natural conversation with them and talk to them, you can be thinking, or while you're doing a facial, you can be thinking like, what is the skin telling me? What things do I need to know? And on the intake form as well, right? You're going to ask them, what steps are you using? If they're not using a cleanser, maybe you're going to recommend a cleanser. But I try to do it in a really natural way and just say, you know, while we were doing the facial, I thought of a couple things I think your skin is going to love. And if you have just a minute, I'm going to share these with you and share a couple of key points. Don't overwhelm them. Keep it very conversation-like and not salesy. Match their body language. You don't want to be too like aggressive and, you know,
Yep.
too excited, but definitely want to share a couple of those key points and how the benefits that will work for their skin. So if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So make sure you ask if they need anything, even if it's a long-term client. How are your products doing? Are you running low on anything? I would hate for you to run out before we see each other at our next appointment, things like that. So that definitely is one for retail for sure. One of the things, have you ever heard the story about give him the pickle?
No.
Oh,
Share.
quick.
Share. I would love a good story.
Oh, you guys will have to look it up. I'm probably gonna goof it up, but this is one that's stuck in my memory for a long time, is that a guy owned a shop, a hamburger store, and they always had clients that was like, could I have an extra pickle? And one of the cashiers started charging for the extra pickles, and they started losing a lot of clients. And they said, you know what, just give them the pickle. So listen to what your clients are telling you. Give them what they're telling you. When they say, oh, I found you through this, great. When was your last facial? Last month. Okay, so that's a clue, right? They went somewhere else. Why didn't they go back to that same place? You don't have to say, well, where did you come from? Why did you leave? But you can naturally bring that up. And the more that you practice, the more that you will get better at your communication. I think it's all about communication, actually, Wick. So another thing, I will share one more point and turn it back to you, but I do a campaign, I call it. I call it practice what you preach. If I'm going to ask my client to go and get a facial every month, do you know what I do every month, Wick? I don't trade for a facial, I pay for a facial. And I'm here to tell you that you learn just as much from receiving services, whether good or bad, you're going to learn as you do by doing other things. So anything I ask my clients to do, I do 100%.
So do you go to the same person to get your facial treatment, or do you shop around? Kind of like see what's going on.
I go to other places. I especially love going when I travel, right? Because then people aren't as threatened and people know me in my town. Yeah. But I do have friends here. You know, I don't think it's competition. I think it's collaboration. I think there's someone for everyone, and I am not everybody's cup of tea. So I'm there for it.
No, no, absolutely. And you know what? It's just a smart thing. So a lot of people, hey, y'all, I don't, Zoe here again, I'm not an esthetician. I don't know this stuff. Can you give yourself a facial?
Well, yeah, but it's not the
It's
experience.
Yeah, it's, so y'all, and it's really important because one, by looking and we call it, I call it shopping, right? Kind of like seeing what's going on. What is my competition doing? Especially if like you said, if not everyone is your competition, but there's other people, they do things different ways. You might go, you know what? I didn't know this. Oh, I should have tried this. Oh, I really like this. Oh, I didn't like this. This person wasn't very communicative. They didn't ask me these things. So, because you're in a position where your industry so well, right? There's a lot of things you can learn, but you can also see what people are doing and what the competition is doing out there, right? So when it comes to you, and I truly believe a lot of clients, Zoe, they like people don't always say what they want, right? I call it the silent objection. A lot of times people there are not happy, or they're not saying something, and they don't want to make an awkward confrontation or something like that. So like you mentioned before with the retail, you'll ask the questions, like what are some other things that you've noticed, or ways that you're able to get more information out of people so you can better serve them?
So for sure, not asking yes or no questions, right? You need to ask them questions that they have to speak quite a bit. Yeah, for new spa goers, they might be a little nervous and not want to talk about it, or maybe they are shopping you. Just kidding.
Never know.
You never know, right?
Never know.
You might just be that good. Really, I think what they say and what they don't say, right? What they don't say is just important as what they say. So when they say, I'm using the Ordinary cleanser or something like that, great. Do you love it? And maybe that's the wrong question, but if they're like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, okay, well, tell me what you really love about it. And that gets them talking more.
Mhm.
Oh, I like the consistency. I like the way it spreads, things like that. Then or if you know that they're using something something that smells very has a lot of fragrance, then you know that they like products that maybe have a scent versus ones that don't,
Right.
So then you can already start niching down what you're even going to offer them.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I want you all to really understand is what Zoe mentioned earlier. You are the esthetician. You are the expert. This person came to you because they wanted the treatment or something, or whatever it may be. However, just because that is what they came in for doesn't mean that's the only issue, right? Zoe, I loved how you said it, where you're putting on your Sherlock Holmes hat while they're there, and you're looking at what other issues are there. What are some other areas that the client either knew and just didn't either put in the form, or maybe they just didn't know about, maybe they're a little bit embarrassed about, I don't know, right? But there's a lot of times they think this is the issue, and that's not always the case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of times clients can be confused, and maybe
Yeah.
if you just educate them, like if they're like, I didn't love the way that cleanser removed, and you can say, tell me how you used it. Walk me through your nightly routine,
Mhm.
Things like that, so that you get them talking, and then you can actually help them. And even if it isn't getting them to buy your retail and they want to use up what they have, you've now taught them how to use it better, and they're going to come back and they're going to thank you. And then they're probably going to give you a chance with your products as well in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really important because it doesn't, I hate it when someone's just pushy. I hate it when someone just talks crap about some other product, right? Lord knows I've done it myself in the past, and with my wisdoms, I'm cutting it down, understanding that somebody made a decision to buy that for whatever, and no one wants somebody spotting to be a spotlight and saying that was stupid. That thing is just garbage. You're an idiot. right? That sounds horrible. So at the same time, it's like, hey, hey, I feel this could maybe help you in this area. Let me know, or use it this way or that way, right? What are some other areas that have really benefited your business? What are some of the things that you've done that have been able to get you the sales and the business that where you're at?
I think doing trainings like that you offer and other people like are so helpful. Listening to podcasts, books, the mindset, I think, is everything, right? Because if you believe it, you can do it. You can be that person. So really set some good goals for yourself. Shoot for the moon. If you land in the stars, just still be happy. All of those mindset things for me, and taking care of myself, help me to be a better esthetician and to be a better businesswoman, for sure.
Yeah. Being positive, understanding that, there's just so much stuff out there, y'all, right? It's overwhelming to learn it all. And one thing I'll tell you, Zoe, that's really helped me. So in the past, what I used to do, I used to read a lot. I used to just read a lot and go through a book, finish it, read another. But one thing I learned is, after I'm on my fourth or fifth book, I almost completely forgot what I learned. It's kind of like watching a movie and then watching that movie again and go, oh my God, I can't believe I missed all these parts. And worse than that is what I used to do, and hopefully I'm not the only idiot that's guilty of this, is I used to go through a book, highlight everything, underline things, take notes, but do nothing with it, right? And now one thing I learned after, from one of my mentors is, I'm gonna work on one book. I'm not going to read the whole book, because this is one way I used to lie to myself. I go, okay, I'm going to read the whole book, and then I'm going to come back and everything I highlighted and outlined, I'm going to start working on then. And it just never happened. So one of the things that I'm implementing that's really helped me out a lot is, as I'm reading a book, I will stop the book at that point that has me do some work, some assignment that has an idea, and execute it right then and there, right? And y'all, again, I can't share with you, I got hundreds of, if not thousands of books that are underlined and highlighted, but I did jack poo-poo with them. And it's just, and it's about, the knowledge is nice, but it's about the execution of those ideas. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. That was going to be my next point that I was going to tell you, is that,
I knew this.
Even with marketing, right? Marketing is just an experiment. And I think so many of us get trapped in that, thinking about it and talking about it and thinking about it, and not ever putting anything out there. You're not going to know if it's going to work for you unless you try it. So action. And anxiety, that overwhelm, if you get into action, guess what? It goes away, and then you can be well.
You can be whelmed. Find your whelm, right?
Yeah.
You know what I recently heard, Zoe, that I just liked, right? I like weird things. So this is weird enough that it hit my wickometer, right? It says violence is the answer. And we hear all the time, violence is not the answer. Don't be violent. But when it comes to your business, when it comes to your sales, when it comes to marketing, violence is the answer. When I mean by violence, don't be rude and beat people up. It means violently attack the workload so you can get it done. You want to do it with a fervor, with like almost an animosity. What do they call it? Beast mode, right? A beast mode is, I feel it more as a violent behavior and aggressive behavior, as opposed to you should give it a shot. It's like, no, do it now.
Yoda.
Right? Yeah.
Nike, all
just
things.
do it. Just do it. Right. So violence is the answer. It's so many times I cannot tell you what I thought was the right thing to do, or the right post, or, oh my God, this post is gonna bang. This post is gonna do it. And crickets. And some other post that was just the weirdest thing. It was a picture of, some grass with some googly eyes on it, just went viral, right? You never know until you put it out there. And so I truly believe that the more you do, the more of an idea you'll have of what people respond to, because because that is the reality. It's not what I feel works. It is what the response I get back once I put it out there, right?
Absolutely.
So how have you been using that? Like how do you post? How do you look at engagement, and how do you respond to it?
Yeah, so I will tell you, I'm older. So I love Facebook. I feel like I understand it really well. I'm learning Instagram, and that is coming along well. Again, experimentation. I've done lots of different things. I love just writing out a social media calendar. I think I once shared it in the group, and I will, if I can just kind of briefly show you. I like to use a bunch of sticky notes on a calendar.
Cool.
So this is March, and every day is a different type of thing. So this month, I just like to stick with a theme and kind of plan it out. But if it doesn't work that day, I'll do something different. So Motivational Monday, I'm answering questions on Tuesday. I'm going to share my blog post on Wednesday. Testimonial Thursday, because you know we got to have that social proof in there. And then Friday, favorites. So favorites of products, and really answering, making sure when you're doing that, because that's kind of like a sales post, right? I'm making sure I'm answering a question. So last Friday I said, are you feeling your skin dry like every client I've been seeing? I think it's the battle between winter and spring.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how to fix it. And so I gave them, this might be a solution for you, you know, instead of just being like, buy my stuff.
Now, you know what's interesting about you, Zoe? You truly are. Whether it's your curiosity is like, hey, what's going on here? You know, why is this, right? That naturalness in there, and then to be able to see that, and then they offer a solution. A lot of the times, y'all, again, I cannot stress this enough. You, the esthetician, are the expert, right? And when you notice things, when you notice a trend, when you notice clients that are, you know, you see the dry skin on more than one, you start seeing this trend, you go, hey, maybe this is going on, and you talk about it. Because if you're seeing it, there may be a chance that the client's seeing it too, saying, oh, I got dry skin. And a lot of times people just don't say it, right? People just don't say it. If I always say this thing, if one person has a question, chances are, you know, hundreds have that same question that are not saying it, right?
Yeah.
So one of the cool things I saw about you with your Google reviews, you know, how did you do that? Share with us your awesomeness to get that many Google reviews.
So actually, I took a play from your handbook. You're not surprised, are you?
No, I'm so happy that I can say things and people use them and it works. So that's awesome. Please.
Well, so I saw my competitors one time, and I saw that they had, I don't know, I think it was like 83 Google reviews. It's a huge med spa, right? I'm one person, huge med spa in town. I was like, I think I want to beat this by the end of the year. And then something clicked in me that April. It happened to be in April. And I said, why do I need to wait until the end of the year? I could do this in 3 days. Yep. So I got like 50 reviews to beat them in 3 days. And then I think they had a shopper that saw that. And the next day I get on and they have way more. But I actually I take that new client sheet, right, where I'm tracking all where they're coming from, if they're my best client, and I write next to their name also what type of email account that they have. And then I have a text that I send out afterwards and say, after I check in with them, of course, make sure everything's good. And then I say, could you do me a huge favor? Would you write a Google review for my business? It would mean the world to me, right? And I do a little world emoji, I do a heart, I send them a direct link to make it super easy. If they don't have a Gmail account, I send them instructions on how to easily do it without, because Google wants you to create one of their accounts, but there is a little loophole. So I send them a different text that says the same thing, right? Like, it would mean the world to me. Would you please do this? So yeah, but it
Yeah.
is really, really working. And then I also have set myself goals, right? So I'm like, okay, this week I want to get 3 Google reviews because that is how a lot of my clients are finding my business. I
Yeah.
think it's because I'm updating my blog and keeping my website fresh, but then also because people keep coming back to my business. So when people say Brazilian waxing near me, who's going to come up? You know?
That's just so awesome. And so again, Zoe, like, this takes time out of your schedule, right? This
Right.
is time, meaning you're going out, you're reaching out to your clients. And one thing I tell people, right? Like, especially if you as an esthetician are not where you want to be, if you feel there's more room for growth, or you want to see more clients, I tell people all the time, if let's just say they have their half days booked, right? They can see 6 clients a day. They're only seeing 3 because that's just where they are in their business right now. I tell people, I go, you have to consider yourself always booked. You're booked with those 3 that you have, and you're booked looking for the next 3 at that point. That's when you sit with your pen and your pad, your computer, your text, and you go out and proactively, just like you did. I mean, that you are proactively going to your client. You're using the information that you collected. You're saying, okay, if they have a Gmail account, I'm going to send this text. If they don't have a Gmail, I'm going to send this text. If they, if, let's just say they're on Facebook all the time, you can use Messenger, right? If you know how your client interacts with you, or how they found you, or whatever the process may be, right? It's easy to do that. And then when you do have that downtime, instead of being on social media, I always tell people, don't be a consumer of social media, be a producer, to be able to go out and then proactively get that. The fact that you have goals, that's really important. If you can say, hey, every week I want to hit 3 Google reviews, good. That means at the end of a month, let's just say there's 4 weeks in a month, you're going to be at 12 to 15 Google reviews, right? Awesome. And then in 1 year, you're going to get 140 Google reviews, right? Whatever. So those small numbers work. And one thing, Zoe, that I really appreciate about you, right? It's whether it's your discipline or your commitment to strategy. Well, tell me, how do you do this? How do you stay on track with all this, with this? Because I'm seeing all these little bits, and I truly believe it does not take a long time to do, but it is a commitment. So do you have a set schedule when you do this, or do you just do it when you have the time? How do you do it?
Yeah, I'll write notes for the week. So I like to plan out my week, kind of see how many clients I'm seeing each day. Kind of figure out, these are the things I'd like to do, right? So if Google reviews are on there, if you have a client that comes late or is sick, or you have extra time, you finish the other client early, it's a great time to fill in those things as well. But I will tell you, one of my favorite cheat sheets is actually a cheat sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I have created a little list, and I did columns. I did it on like a landscape. I did 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. And I wrote different tasks in that time. And I have it hanging in a non-conspicuous place in my office, so that when I have 10 minutes, what am I going to do? I'm going to follow up with clients. I'm going to make sure I put my post on social. I'm going to fold a batch of laundry. When I have 15 minutes, I'm going to, X, Y, and Z. When I have 30 minutes, I'm going to do this. And when I have an hour, here's my options, so that I don't even have to think about it, because sometimes you get in the trenches of your day and you do have a half an hour, but by that time you're like, I don't even know what the day is, let alone the tasks at hand that I need to do to reach my goals. So I've made it easy, so my mind doesn't even have to think. I just go to my list and figure out which of those tasks sounds like the best plan for that day.
Okay, and so how do you talk yourself, I guess, into doing that, versus just you have 30 minutes, oh, let me just wander off, and what do they say, idle mind is the devil's playground? Do you immediately just go, okay, I have 30 minutes, boom, I'm going to do this? Or is it easy to wander?
I think it's easy to wander, right? That scroll that you talk about, like you get sucked in, but then I am a girl with a lot of goals.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to waste time. I believe in working smarter, not harder. When I go home for the day, I don't want to have to do those things that are still on my plate, right? Because I want to grow my business. I want to be successful. And so I want to get those done when I'm at work. So when I come home, I'm able to have gratitude for that day and all of the clients that saw me, but then be able to spend time with my family and really relax and unwind and unplug from business life.
Yeah, so it's possible, right? If you basically what I'm hearing is if you have the discipline, because that's what it is. And so many times I am so guilty of it. I'll be here and then boom, I'll just poop away 30 minutes on this thing that I have zero business doing, right? And I think it's yeah, it's one of the things that you talked about. Who talked about this? Stephen Covey used to talk about this before, right? In terms of quadrants of things that are important. This thing is urgent and important. This thing needs to get done. This thing is a total waste of time. And we all have the same amount of hours in a day. And if we just are able to cut out, we don't need more hours in the day. We just need to reduce the clutter, reduce the chaos of things that are not being productive for us, and saying these things are not helping X, substitute it with the list that you have. And I think that's genius. I think that's just really nice. It's a simple way of you not having to think about it, right? Saying I've got this much time, I can do this one, right? And you really can't be wrong because you're gonna be productive throughout your list.
Right, totally. It's very much prioritizing for us too. And exactly like you said, like these things don't matter and it's not going to get me closer to my goals. So they're off the list. I'm cutting them off.
Yeah, you know what's ironic? And again, I'm just putting it out there. Lord knows I'm guilty of ruining my time. But how many times have we said to ourselves, I value my time? Especially as the estheticians, how upset are you if somebody does a no-show? Oh, they don't value my time. Or somebody comes in late and you're upset, they don't value my time. But let me ask you a question, and I'm saying this to you. I'm really speaking to the man in the mirror myself. How much of our own time do we waste? How much of our own time do we waste that is equivalent to a no-show? Right? And so we're so easy to point a finger. Well, that person wasted my time. That person did this. But the minute and again, I'm saying this to you, I swear to God, I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, how much of our own time in a day do we waste doing things that are not making us money, that are not keeping us closer to God or keeping us close to our family or whatever things that are important to you, right?
Totally. Yeah. You can go through and audit your time. A lot of mentors, I'm sure you've maybe done this before. I always am like, I think I'll be horrified to see what time I've wasted if they're like, go through your day and write down like each time you get on social or each time you're just, flushing hours down the toilet.
Yeah. And talking about flushing hours down the toilet, I don't know about y'all, but I will sit on the toilet watching TikTok videos till my legs have fallen asleep. And I'm getting up, trying not to fall, like, it should have been a 5-minute process, not a 30-minute adventure.
Yeah.
Right. But again, it's that value of the time, y'all. If you value your time, if you get upset when a client no shows, I want you to start getting upset at yourself. I was actually going to do a video today, and this is one of the things that an idea I want to share with y'all too is, and it's helped me a lot. Sometimes when I'm not sure what I should be doing, or if I need to make a decision, we've all heard that acronym. What is it? WWJD. You know what WWJD is? What is it?
What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? Right. And so the same thing with me. I look at some of the mentors that I've had, and I'm like, you know what? And these people are doing like super duper well. And I'll go, you know what would that person be doing right now? I was saying, so if you're an esthetician and you're doing, 30 to 50,000, and you see other estheticians that are doing 6 figures plus, ask yourself of people that are ahead of you, saying, what would that person be doing right now? And I think that's one of the things that Zoey, the outline, the information that you just shared, these are some of the things that you all should be doing. When you do have that downtime, go, can I do this? Can I send some thank you cards? Can I do a post on social? Can I fold this? Can I, whatever is on your list of things that you can do. And that's awesome how you broke that down into time, brackets as well, and say, hey, this is how much time I got. Can I bang this out? All right. So that's cool. What else? What else is keeps you super duper busy in your career?
Seeing clients, man. I'm booked. So yeah, it's been such a blessing in my life, and I'm happy to have great clients, awesome clients.
Yeah. And how far are you booked?
Right now, if you want to see a facial from me, it's the last week in April.
Okay. And so when do you rebook them at the time of service? Do they book a bunch in advance? Like how's that conversation? How do you have that conversation to train your clients to rebook right then and there?
Yeah, I just let them know, like, ideally, well, I probably wouldn't even say that word. I'm already correcting myself. Yes. So if it's a new client, you're a new client. Okay, so your next wax we should schedule in 4 weeks. I have Tuesday at 9 or Wednesday at 1. What works best for you? Right. Giving them options, just getting them in to fill in that time right away. My clients know, especially with facial clients, I try to book them out a couple in advance at least. Some of my friends and mentors in the industry already have 2022 booked out through December. Those good clients are already there. So,
and you know what's super important? I remember a long time ago, I used to work out at 24-Hour Fitness, right? So I used to do their sales, and 24-Hour Fitness had this really, really cool intake form. And one of the questions that they asked all the time is like, okay, hey, if you're going to work out here, right? If you're going to work out, what times would you be working out? And it's like, would you do work out in the morning, in the afternoon, the evening? And then me would be like, what, probably evening time right after work. Like, okay, cool. So because they asked that question, they can strategically go, well, you said you'd work out at this time. So one thing that's really important, y'all, and Zoey, you're just reminding me of this as well, is when you get to know your clients, you want to find out things about them, just through conversation, not an interrogation, right? Zoey, can we agree? I have spoken with estheticians. They'll ask question. I'm like, I'm guilty. I did it. I felt like I was being interrogated, right? Yeah, it's that art. It's that art of conversation, of just weaving it in, and to find out, what does your client do? What hours are they busy? Because if, like, let's just say you said, hey, I'm busy, I'm so swamped, but I'm going to book you 4 weeks out. You want this time or this time? If neither of those times work, because you don't know anything about your clients, right? I'm not saying that the client won't correct you, like, well, I know, no. But it's just easier if you know them and to recommend the times and just make it an easier decision, right? It's so much of this is, we used to have something called, there's this book I read I think it was by Harvey McKay. Really good book. And what he would talk about is he would have all these things to get information about clients. Were they single or married, right? Did they have kids? Did they have a dog? How many children do they have if they have kids? When's their birthday? Well, birthday may be in the form, right? But you get all these things. What do they do? How, all this stuff. You get this information, and we would actually write it down. Right, we'd write it, type it down, all this stuff, so we would know what's going on with our client. And next time we talk to him, or we ask him, go, hey, how's little Bobby's softball game, right? Hey, I heard hey, how's your dog doing? I know last time you took him to the vet. When you're able to, when they remember things to that degree, right? Like what kind of relationship do you have with your clients, Zoey?
Oh, absolutely. Know everything about them, their kids, their pets' names, anniversaries, birthdays, all of the important things, right?
How do you remember it?
I don't. I use the Notes app and our favorite app, right? I put it down on paper because when you're seeing a lot of clients a day,
Yep.
one day I saw 17 clients. So if it's a waxing day, super hopping. If it's a facial day, I might see 5 or 6 clients, but too many clients to remember every detail
Yep.
like that. So especially when they're going on a trip or doing stuff like that, I like to make notes. So the next time they come in, I can say, Wick, how was Hawaii? Did you love getting away from this winter?
Aloha. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And I'll tell you all, listen to these words when I say it. Ask those questions, remember them. You don't want to be opposite. Like if you're in the middle of a facial or a treatment, you don't want to stop what you're doing and write your kid's name is Barbara, right? Like that. But you remember enough of it that immediately right after the treatment, you write that down. Let me tell you, do not trust your memory, right? I cannot stress that enough. Do not trust, especially if you've seen a bunch of clients, and even if you haven't seen the 17, even the 6, right? Like so many times, I don't even remember what day it is, right? I don't remember what I had for breakfast. And to remember this person and that person, you know how dumb you look. Hey, how's your dog doing from this surgery? I don't have a dog. Oh, I thought you were somebody. It's just a dumb thing. And I've done it.
Esthetician has done it because I've done it. I actually confused in my mind 2 clients that came in back to back,
Yep.
and I had them flopped in my mind. So I'm like, never trust your memory.
No, right? And here, not saying it doesn't happen, but the name of the game is to minimize that from happening, right? To give that additional appearance that you care, because you do care. That's why you cared enough to write it down, not so you can manipulate your client, because you want them to go, hey, you know what? I cared enough about you to write this down because I wanted to remember so I can give you a better experience next time.
Right, because it's all about the client experience, right, Wick? They can get another wax right down the street from where I work. So it's really about how you make the client feel while they're there with you. So it's all about them remembering everything, making sure you have their favorite music playing, the scents, like all of those things that you remember about them. If they like room temperature water or cold water, or like things like that, it's important.
Yeah. So why you? Why do your clients come to you, Zoey? So they, like you said, they have options out there, right? What do you do for your clients that you feel? And again, I am very egotistical in certain areas where I'm like, hey, you know what? I feel that my clients are best in my hands because no one's gonna care for them more than me. Right. And to me, that's just how I personally feel. Right. So why do your clients come to you?
Yeah, I think that I offer exceptional service every single time they come in. I don't let my guard down. I always used to say it's like the difference between dating or being married. Would you fart in front of your date, but you would if in front of your spouse or whatever. So in those long-term client relationships, you really, really have to pretend like you're courting them again, because it's easy for them to go somewhere else, but you want to make them fall in love with you with the experience. So with my waxes, I feel like it's always exceptional. We're trying to make sure I remove every hair. I'm really good about educating. With facials, they get extra things like hot towels on their feet and things like that add to the experience, but it really doesn't cost me extra money in my bottom line, and they're not getting that down the street.
And you know what, really good put. So the hot towel, what are some of the other things that you might do as well that is extra that the people across the street aren't doing? That again, I truly believe not everything has to cost money. Right? There's a lot of things that it's just caring, it's free, it's easy, the stuff is just there. What are some of the things that you do? So you do the hot towels. Is there anything else that you do to give the clients that experience?
Yeah, for facials, we'll just go with facials because that's the easiest one for me to tell you about. But I do the LED light in every single facial service that I offer. I do it. I have the Illuminate. This is not an ad, but it's only 5 minutes. So it doesn't really add that much extra time. And it adds extra benefits for the skin. I just talk about the red light and how it helps promote healing, reduce inflammation, etc. I ask them what kind of essential oil that they want on the back of the neck at the end. And I always like do a really nice neck massage. I'm of course going to do the décolleté. I do every single step with me is a hot towel. So it takes at least eight hot towels in a facial, which is extra laundry, but I personally, because you remember that I like to get facials, don't love like the sponges and things like that. I would rather have that floofiness, I guess. So, and then scalp massage. So it's like a head to toe experience for me.
So nice. And you know, it's so critical that I'm telling y'all, people are not just coming for the treatment, they're coming for the experience. There used to be a restaurant I used to go to, Zoe, out in San Francisco, and you know, the food was good, the experience was amazing. Like as soon as you come there, right? And I think it was like a Persian restaurant or something. But you would come there and you know, they would sit you down, and they would bring out this hot lavender water in a bowl under, and they would wash your hands. They pour like water. Oh, I'm just like, right?
Tell you, it doesn't matter how good the food is at any restaurant. If the service isn't good, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. You can't make me go, because I think it ruins it. Absolutely
right, 100%. So people, a lot of people that you know, I just hear this so much, man, and it's about some people don't have the gratitude or this or that. I don't know what it is, but if you give somebody, one thing I'll tell you, and this is so rude of me to say, right? A lot of people, a lot of estheticians, it's, you know, because I'm just in this space, I'll notice that they're saying, hey, we don't get enough referrals. We want more referrals. Let me tell you something. One of the reasons some estheticians are not getting the referrals that they want is because the client isn't getting the experience that blows their mind, where they would just go out and speak about your business to everybody else. Like Zoe, what's the last place you've been to, in, you know, restaurant, place, anywhere, where the experience was just phenomenal? Like anything pop up for you?
Oh goodness. I'm drawing a blank quick.
No, well, that's okay. But like I said, like for example, that Persian restaurant I talked about, right? The experience was amazing. There's a place I used to go to in San Francisco a long time ago called Teatro Zinzani. Oh my Lord. I must have told 100 people about this restaurant, and unfortunately it closed here. Just broke my heart. But it's just, the experience is just phenomenal. So if you offer an experience that is great, you know, again, wow your clients, you know, spend the extra towels, right? You know, do this, you know, ask them about this, the essential oils, you know, on the neck, and you know, all of that stuff, whatever part. And this is weird, there's this book out there that really helped my business out a lot. It's called Thinker Toys. And basically it's a book on how to think. And one of the parts of the book that I appreciated, they're about making a new bike, and they go, you don't have to improve the entire bike. What they did is they took out the different components of the bike. Here's the seat, here's the pedal, here's this, here's that. And what they did is they just focused on that one area at a time to improve. And so with your services, with any services, dissect your services. Part 1 is this, part 2 is this, part 3 is this, part 4 is this. If you are not actively doing this and saying, okay, this is what I'm doing for part 1, how can I, you know, up it? What can I do to add to it, to make it from where it is for the customer to go, client to go, wow, that was amazing, right? What more could I do? Part 2. Here's part 3. You know, and it's that question. You know, what would I want have done? It's like if person did this, 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 and this, and this, like, you know, it's like it's an endless cycle. But it's that it's an old saying, Kanai, constant and never-ending improvement, right? You're just improving your business again and again, and seeing what gets results. Because if the experience hits, that client will talk. They will talk about you to everyone.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. What else, Zoe? Is there anything else I'm leaving out before I have to let you go? I barely got you on the hook, so I want to get as much as I possibly can out of you.
No, I think we covered most of it. You guys just go out there, take action, make sure you set goals, keep trying things, reinvent yourself, be 1% better, like Wick said. And you really can't go wrong, but try something, do something, put yourself into action so you can feel the whelm instead of overwhelm.
Feel the whelm, be the whelm, right? You know, get rid of the overwhelm. Well, Zoe, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than I can ever share with you, right? And the advice that you've given. Remember, so a couple of things that Zoe said, just because I take notes when people talk, right? It's, you know, you're looking at managing. You're looking at taking down that information and making it usable. You know, get to know where you're getting your clients from, right? Have the goals. Be personable. Those are like magical words. Can you please do me a favor? Can you do this for me? It would mean the world to me, right? That's just a person asking another person to help them, right? So understanding that you are a business, but you're also a really cool person, and it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable and ask people for help, because we all need that help. So doing that, the metrics, Zoe, you blew my mind with your metrics and how you keep track of it, right? That you are a walking abacus. Right.
I love the numbers. I'm geeking out over the numbers, Wick.
Hey, and if you're not keeping track of your numbers, you don't know how you can improve those numbers. Correct. Right. That's just understand this, right? That's the first thing. If I'm trying to lose weight, you know what step number one is? Step on a freaking scale, Wick. Where you at? Okay, cool. From there, we're gonna look at what's going on. So y'all know this, get to know it a little bit better. It doesn't, and one thing Zoe's really impressed upon me, is it doesn't take a ton of time. It does not take, you don't need more hours in the day. You don't need 26 hours in a day instead of 24, right? If Zoe can do it, Zoe, how many arms you got? 2? I'm thinking, do you got 2 arms?
2, oh yeah.
2 arms, put them up, right? You know, 2 legs, right? So Zoe doesn't got 4 arms. She's not like, there's an Indian god out there, Lakshmi, I think she's got like 8 arms. Lakshmi could probably do some more things. Zoe's got 2. If Zoe can do, so can you. And that's about it. So Zoe, thank you so much. Stay with me for a second while I close this up. And Bold Beauty bosses, listen, do. That's it. Just look at a few of the ideas. You don't have to get them all going at the same time. I know Zoe spoke about so many of them. You don't have to do that, but you make that list and you go, let me start with 1. And then 1 is done, cool. Let me go to 2. I'm gonna start doing this one, right? We feel overwhelmed when we do too much. Start with 1, be whelmed. All right, talk to you soon. Be amazing. Bye-bye.
Bye.